franchise, you would normally lose. I mean, you would do what Tennessee would do. You'd outplay somebody and lose. You got outplayed and won. That never happens in Chicago. So, but that's about it for the good news. Here's two things I worry about with the Bears. Caleb Williams has got to get more accurate. 3 times last year at Southern California, he completed under 58% of his throws. He only completed 50% of his throws in the preseason, and he completed yesterday 48%. He's got to get more accurate quick. All right, like that, period. And what concerns me, he doesn't have a McVay or a Shanahan or a Sean Payton or an Andy Reid to smooth out the rough edges. He just doesn't. So Chicago averaged 2.8 yards a play yesterday. That was worst in the league. And Tennessee's defense is good. It's not that good. So, listen, I get it. All the young quarterbacks struggled. But I thought Bo Nix was better than everybody thinks, but I get it. And I also get that Geno Smith was good, and Derek Carr was good, and Sam Darnold was good, and Baker Mayfield was good. And time on task matters a lot in this league. And I picked Tennessee to win this game during the Blazing Five Friday. I said this is going to be much more turbulent. And I also pointed out Friday, I said his accuracy is erratic. It was in college. It was in the preseason. But the difference is when Mahomes was erratic, he had Reed. And by the way, Russell Wilson last year with Sean Payton had his best year in 2 years. And Bo Nix was accurate yesterday. This is a defensive culture. It's a defensive head coach. Does he have a strong offensive coordinator to sandpaper the edges? Because the accuracy, which was, in fairness, all the people I talked to about Caleb, that was the concern. Leadership's good. Athletic ability's good. Size, power, arm, all that stuff. But I wonder. Now, it's not like Will Levis bad where you don't even know if he can play in this league. Like, I think Will Levis is too mechanical. I don't think he's fluid enough. I don't think it works. Daniel Jones, not talented enough. Bryce Young just doesn't look strong and accurate enough. I don't think it's that situation where you're watching and you're wondering, man, that just doesn't work at all. That may never work. But yesterday, the Bears, they got too many offensive weapons to have a 42 passer rating on third down. That's bad. And again, I said it was going to be turbulent, and I picked the Titans to win this game, but I didn't think the oxygen masks would have to drop and the stewardesses would be screaming in terror. They barely landed the plane, and they got kind of lucky to land the plane because if Will Levis didn't make arguably the worst quarterback decision I've ever seen in my life, they lose this game and are anemic offensively. So, again, it's all these young guys struggle. But I had said this months ago in the draft. Jaden Daniels has a defensive coach. And Caleb Williams has a defensive coach. And Michael Penix has a defensive coach. Bo Nix has an offensive coach. And I thought Bo Nix yesterday had a bad pick, wasn't great. But I do think it matters because all these guys are hitting that ball in the rough. How do you get it? Even Mahomes early was amazing, but his mechanics would go sideways. He would be reckless and sloppy. Andy would get him back in the fairway. And here was Caleb Williams on his debut.
I sat down, enjoyed the moment, and just watching all the guys celebrate, understand that I need to be better, I will be better. Whether it's a win or loss, you expect yourself to play a certain way. You expect yourself to go out there and perform a certain way. That didn't happen today, and so, it's enough motivation for me. We're going to, somebody else's home this week. And so, it's enough motivation for me to go out there, get better this week. And make sure that, I perform differently next week.
Okay, now, it gets much tougher. They go from Will Levis and at home to C.J. Stroud at Houston Sunday night. So that's a big primetime game. This schedule now gets interesting for the next couple of weeks. So, again, we knew the flight was going to be bumpy. I said before, I worry about the culture, not Caleb. How do you sandpaper this stuff? Because you can't have a 42 passer rating on third down with those weapons at home on a perfect weather day. Here comes the bad weather in 6 weeks. Here come the great defenses. Sunday night at Houston's going to be a totally different environment. In fact, I like the Texans big in that game. What's something you'd love to learn? As an adult, do you make time for new things? as often as you'd like? Or was that lost in childhood? Kids are always learning and growing, but as adults, sometimes we lose that curiosity. It's a new deal. So it's $230 million, $60 million annual average. 4 years, $240 million. So two things happened yesterday with the Cowboys that are very predictable. They paid a lot of money for a player they drafted. They love to do that. And the Cowboys looked absolutely brilliant in week 1 of the regular season. Do you know what they did last year in week 1 of the regular season? They won by 40 points. This is what the Cowboys do. Now, Cleveland's a mess. The Deshaun Watson contract, I don't know what happened. He's not the same player. I can't explain it. 13 starts for Cleveland. He's got a 78 passer rating and completing 59% of his throws. He's not as athletic. He doesn't see the field. He's not that accurate. I never loved him as a quarterback. He's bad now. So I don't know what to say about it. He changed jerseys. I don't know. It's not working. Now, he was missing some offensive linemen. Dallas has a good pass rush. I'm trying to contextualize all of it, but that contract now, you thought the Russell Wilson Denver deal was a bad one, but they hit on Bo Nix. So that means they'll be able to make up on that big salary for Russell Wilson very quickly in 1 year. Cleveland's trapped 3 years of that. And when you're missing offensive linemen, you don't want to face the Cowboys because they got a pass rush. But it was so Dallas. Sunny weather. Dak's got a new contract. The pass rush is humming. It just felt like Dallas. And the reason I've always stayed very consistent with my Cowboy predictions is because the Cowboys stay consistent. They overpay. They win a lot in the regular season. And inevitably, they don't do very well in January. In fact, what I was really blown away with was the play calling by Mike McCarthy. It was such a classic Cowboy quarter. They were getting a great pass rush. McCarthy and them beautiful sequencing by the Cowboys. And then they almost butcher it at the end of the half with a clock. Guy hits a 66-yard field goal, but they met situationally. They messed up their clock, the timeout. It just was so Dallas. Big pass rush, play calling and Dak humming, and they can't quite get situational football right. But I'm not going to get too worked up over this because I've seen this movie so many times. I still think it's a very, very weak running back room. I still think they're incredibly dependent on CeeDee Lamb. But to Mike McCarthy's credit, they use CeeDee Lamb. It didn't matter if it was jet sweeps, bubble screens, down the field. To Mike McCarthy's credit, and he's a good coach. I don't think he's a great one. He's a good one. They went to CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if you can sustain that for 17 weeks. I think teams with better corners and a better consistent pass rush could give them trouble. But the last 3 years, the Dallas Cowboys, I kid you not, look it up, have won more regular season games than the San Francisco 49ers. Okay, so I've seen this before. But let's be honest. Here's the good news. If Dak is your quarterback, you're never in chaos. If Dak is your quarterback, you're always viable until about January 15th. If Dak is your quarterback, Jerry Jones is happy, and here is Jerry on the new deal for Dak.
I'm happy that it's done. This was a time when it was right there for us to do. We were all set to go, and that's so critical. I've seen so many things that were worthy of doing that weren't done because you missed the timing to make it happen. And opening day up here against Cleveland, this was a great time to make it happen.
So there's so many things happen in week 1, and you can't overreact to it. I mean, that's one of the things you just can't do. You can't overreact to this stuff. But I will say the Jim Harbaugh win for the Chargers, and I know that was a corner TV game for a lot of you. That was impressive. That was an ugly football game, and I want to give Jim Harbaugh some credit on the other side. Did you have Michael Irvin, Matt Hasselbeck today, J-Mac? What was your big interpretation of week 1? Obviously, Cincinnati, without their receivers, is a water pistol offense. I thought New England's defense, the physicality of the Patriots was impressive. I mean, they were blowing plays up left and right.
Big picture, I'd go back to Friday night and the Jordan Love injury, Colin. I know you love the Packers. You thought Super Bowl. I think Pete Schrager said they're going to the Super Bowl, maybe.
Yeah.
If he's out a month and it's Malik Willis, as been reported, like there's conflicting reports on if they're going to go after Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah.
But if it's Malik Willis, Packers are done. The season's over if he's out for a month. There's just no chance.
Yeah.
Not in that division in a pretty stacked NFC.
Yeah. I didn't love the Friday game because it took 4 great teams were taken off the Sunday schedule by Thursday and Friday.
But that game was awesome.
It was. I was watching a lot of bad quarterback play yesterday, and I think we all should take a deep breath. Young quarterbacks are going to struggle. What would concern me if you're Tennessee or you're the New York Giants when you don't have a rookie quarterback and your guy looks like he can't play? Or Carolina could be frightening. Like, do we have to redraft the quarterback position? Yeah.